What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and thank you for tuning in for another fantastic video. Today, we're going to be looking at some very interesting options activity, looking at ticker symbol ZM, Zoom Communications, of course. Lack of better words, this is the stock that has gone from like $80 a year ago all the way up to astronomical prices, and then the last couple quarters and kind of since the pandemic has been slowing down and more people have been transitioning potentially back into the offices, and the evaluations for the stock are still what some folks are saying are very high, giving it some price targets that are below its current prices, saying that their current sales pipeline doesn't support the overall stock price. There's a lot of questions going into this, which I'm not going to answer today. What we are going to answer is going to be looking at the options activity, looking at the charts, because again, you came here to look at one of the best chartists on this side of the Mississippi. Yeah. Anywho, that being said, I did have a little bit of coffee again today, so we're having a little bit of the jitters. But that being said, we're going to be jumping in, looking at this really interesting call options that we saw, especially towards the end of the year. So that's why, hence the title, Can Zoom Hit $500 by the end of the year? These call options are kind of spread across potentially towards the end of the year that can really maybe have Zoom jump up $90 where it currently lies and really see this stock take off again. We do know that Cathie Woods and ARK Investment have been buying the dip here, especially after this last previous earnings. You'll see on the chart a lot of consolidation trying to build up here again. So without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump in here. We're going to be looking at the options tree here. As you can see here on the very large options activity, we saw 1282, 800, 800. Both of these, again, we're going to be looking at this very large one, basically someone buying the December 20th, 2020, December 31st call options for the 845. Someone bought the 475 twice within the same time frame. Again, these are very large trades. Just this one particular trade, the 485 call, that's well over $750,000. And then looking at these other ones, the 75s as well, calls, again, those are well over $500,000 as well. So we're talking a hints of nearly $1.6 to $1.7 million worth of options on one particular side of the tree being bought, which is, again, it's towards the end of the year. Could it be a sympathy play if we get a higher run up in cases and the pandemic really comes back into fruition? Is this on the stimulus bill? Who knows what could be triggering this? But this is really the fundamental understanding of technical analysis of just price dictates everything. And so at the current time, we're looking at right now the current price as the close of the 8th of December. We're going to be looking at the chart here at exactly at $412. And again, looking at this again, this stock, which we talked about, it was $62 basically this time last year. And of course, due to the pandemic, has really ratcheted these averages up and really made it a premier stock to own during the pandemic, and really just taking the genie out of the bottle. By genie out of the bottle, meaning that you're not going to get that genie back in the bottle. You're not going to be able to get the cat back in the crate. Once it's out, you're just going to have to deal with it. And especially this is what we're looking at here. I'm like, okay, we know there's a lot of FOMO built in with Zoom and all of the other aspects of that stay-at-home play stocks. But as of right now, with these very large run-ups, again, it's sending us a little bit of mixed signals on the sense of like, hey, is it going to be coming back down to well below 400, or is it going to try to potentially go to $500 again? So looking here on the charting side of things, again, from its last earnings, had a huge gap up, but kind of gave it really right on all back. Then was trading between the 5 and 8 moving averages here quite a bit here, then hitting its all-time high basically on 1019. So basically in October 19th. It hit its all-time high, and then ever since then, it's kind of been trending lower. I'm not a big fan of trend lines, but this kind of really potentially, I'm going to kind of go through a couple things, but this really kind of dictates on what we're looking at here. I'm seeing this somewhat downward momentum here, and we're going to make it super thick too, to kind of, again, we're not going to be doing it on the technical side of trying to hit each top of the bands, but we're going to be looking at, excuse me, looking at these topper bands. So we're going to edit this. We're going to make it super thick. We're going to make it a 5 to really highlight that movement that we're seeing downwards, okay? So what we're looking at here is not just looking at, technically speaking, what could be happening here. We are seeing, again, the last quarter hit this line, okay? This is an imaginary line. It's just like the equator. Like, I have a friend who worked on a cruise ship, and you'll be surprised on how many idiots asked on, when do we cross the equator, because I need to put my suntan lotion or my tanning lotion. Like, just people thought it was like a huge like gap in the middle of the earth, or a huge red line that runs through the middle of the earth. Like it's just it's imaginary. It's not an imaginary line. It's a reference point. So that's what we're looking at here with this ginormous 5x pink line here, with this movement here, really just helping us dictate and understand when we just look at the chart, like, okay, this trend is kind of going lower, potentially trying to base here. So basing here, what we mean is basically around that 410 to 412 level, which we've seen a lot of the consolidation of the ticks or the candles here around that level. I don't know why I have 2 markers here, but like, we're going to do that. So the initially looking at this, yeah, you're like, it's kind of been trending lower. Why would I want to buy this, Ken? Again, not everything has to make a lot of sense for you to buy things. It just, looking at the simple chart, it looks like a wedge pattern, like a flag pattern, whatever you want to follow it into that technical realm of things. That downward trend, we're going to potentially get that tight consolidation. Again, we're going to be looking at like that 400 to 395 range, kind of being somewhat at the bottom here on the chart here, and potentially getting this another thick line here, so I can draw that a little bit better to kind of help bring home the point. And we're actually going to make this line just a little bit different. We're going to make it, what goes good with pink? We're going to go with purple. Purple and pink really make the screen pop, and we're going to make that one 5x as well. So this is going to be our potential base here. So does that make sense? You see what I'm saying here? So we kind of have a triangle pattern here, kind of hitting off this pattern here, and then looking for a potential breakout. So again, the options that we were looking at, well over nearly 1.6 million were bought. We're looking for some prices above 450, between 475 up to $500. So where does that look at on the chart? That comes up right about this level here, around 501. We're just going to put an alert at that level to kind of help us highlight that and bring it down to around that 477 level, kind of in the middle between those levels. Again, where do you see that kind of line up? Look, that lines up all the way back here, back in the September timeframe, which we saw a lot of consolidation before. Okay, we also saw some this is where it broke down before earnings. Okay, that's where it ran up before earnings as well. So it has a little bit of emotional value at that level, because again, that emotional value could be people who bought in at that level, people who got out, people who are putting that as a trigger to potentially get in or out. Like, this is a lot of emotional value at that level. And looking at here on back to the Fibonacci retracement here, from the swing high to swing low, looky, cookie, what happens here? That is the swing high to swing low. Guess where that matches up? The 477 matches up exactly with the 50% retracement. Okay, this is not magic. I'm not doing Paul. I'm not David Blaine. I'm not putting that's actually crazy. You should watch it. He literally puts an ice pick through his hand. I'm not trying to do magic here. This is just simplistic technical analysis here, using fibs, moving averages, and just really just drawing straight lines and like looking at the charts. With that being said, we have that key level at 618 Fibonacci retracement at 503. This is called 500-ish, but that very key level at that 50% retracement here at 477. So be very mindful of that. We have the parabolic SAR dots up there as well. Again, that is helping the trend going up, down, left, or right, potentially kind of holding that pattern here. If we can hold this base here between the 400 to 420, we could potentially see a lot of momentum building up here. Because again, we're not seeing a lot of volume coming in the past couple days, because we did see a lot of volume, of course, after the earnings happened, people getting in, getting out. A lot of things are trading, a lot of hectic, a lot of just people going crazy over it. It's basically like going to the grocery store on 11:30 on a Saturday afternoon. Everyone and their mother is doing the same thing around that same time, and they're just constantly. It's very busy. It's very crowded. There's no rhyme or reason. Like, I love to go to the grocery store at 6 in the morning, because again, you got the people that take care of the vegetables and the produce. They're out there shining the apples, and they're getting all things nice and pretty. Everything's nice and calm. There's not frantic pushing and cart hauling around, and you just can take your time, enjoy, look at all the delicious foods and snacks and everything, and you just take your time perusing through the grocery store. That's basically, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about right now. I'm kind of going crazy here, but looking at this technical analysis again, jumping back in here to the chart and not talking about Ken's grocery pleasures. Again, go Costco. Wish Costco would open up at 6 a.m. It's like going to Costco at 9:30 or 10 o'clock on a Saturday. Have fun with that. That's just like a no-no zone for me. Anywho, so looking for a potential movement above 418 to potentially 420. We've seen this kind of break above the 21 EMA, which is that yellow line right there, and really potentially kind of came right back down multiple times here. So 1, 2, potentially looking for a break up, a movement to a break. Sorry, above 450-ish. But really looking for that 420 to 425 to really start that momentum going. I don't know if this is going to be a fast burn or slow burn. Again, if you look at those options again, they're trading on the 31st of December, so the very last day of 2020, which has been one hell of a year. Let's put it that way. And those options are 23 days away. So not that far. Again, that theta decay is going to be kicking in on those calls. Since they are out of the money, those theta decays really got to kick in. So these options really need to make a move fairly fast. So again, we don't know exactly what the trader or hedge fund is doing here, but this is an interesting setup here. I potentially, the one that I would potentially be taking here and really seeing on and keeping it on a short leash to see if we can get any kind of a profit from this particular trade, even though it's kind of been beaten up and people don't really care about Zoom right now because for whatever reasons, they just think it's overvalued or whatever, which usually gets my juices flowing. That sounds terrible. Oh my God. It gets me excited. Where when people are just kind of just kick it to the side, it's usually a great opportunity to be a catalyst for a great move higher. So, but that being said, thank you so much for watching. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you like the content, you know how to hit thumbs up. If you don't, hit the thumbs down. And if you don't like it at all, leave a wonderful comment and have a happy holidays, happy Hanukkah to you folks out there as well. And again, guys, thank you. Catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.